Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bro Talk. I'm here with my brothers Isaac and Bilal, and Bruiser still in Africa, so salute. Brothers, man, what's going on today? It's been quite an eventful weekend, I'm sure. And we got one announcement, probably the only announcement that's coming out in a few minutes that we definitely want to celebrate, and Bilal's gonna give us the uh the skinny on that. But brothers, how y'all doing today? What's going on? What's good? Yeah, how's life treating y'all?
LG, man, life's good. Life's good. I'm gonna kick it off because I know Balow's
Is
probably
that the
got a little
actual
bit more to
name?
share.
Is that the
Yeah,
actual name of? Yes, that
yeah,
is the
that's what
actual name
LG
of
stand
LG.
for.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. That was kind of actually the one reason I wanted to buy an LG TV when it first came out. I'm like, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I never bought an LG TV though,
No.
but you know,
Them
No.
joints was them joints was expensive.
yeah, it was a thought. It was a thought. Life ain't that good, man. I couldn't afford them. At least not at the time. But yeah, life's good now though. It's, coming off an eventful weekend. Definitely was an eventful weekend. On Friday, we had our holiday party for work. So we got together and went bowling. Shout out to the Department of Recreation for you know uh, putting that together and allowing our department to come along as well too. And then Saturday was also a cool day. The mayor had his mentor up gala that evening. So
I saw some
shout
great
out.
pictures from that too.
Yeah, it was a beautiful event, man. It was well attended. Well over 80, I believe like 80 young people
Wow.
showed up, and I'm not sure how many mentors, but there were quite a few mentors there as well too. Pouring into those young people, and it was really dope to see because as I was kind of the young people as they were coming in, just kind of asking them, "Hey, y'all excited? Y'all ready to be here?" And 99% of them said yes. And they were excited, for the opportunity not just to come and get dressed up and be at this event, but really to be able to connect with some professionals and fields that they were interested in. Growing in and learning more about. So, it was definitely cool to see the number of staff from the city of Rochester that were there in various departments and positions that come out and give back to and talk to these young people during this event. Shout out to frat brother Shay Hagens, who hosted the event. He was a great MC. Kept the event going and flowing. So just want to give him some kudos as well too. But definitely,
Go to he had on his
Oh, he was clean. He was clean, bro. I seen the
yeah,
pictures.
he was a super alpha that day for sure, for sure. and, king of the brooches. That's what we'll call it, brother.
yeah. We got a new KOB.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Shout
oh
out
yeah,
to my brother Shay, man. Love you, bro.
yeah. He did his thing, man. And then, but to everybody on the planning committee, the youth services department was really well represented there. All the youth from YBOV, obviously Tremaine Harris, who oversees YBOV, Yasir, who oversees our BizKids program, Calvin Holloway, who also works with Youth Voice on Vision. But some members from my Lels team was there, Raquel and Heaven was there. We just had a great showing of team members that are part of the planning committee, and also there to make sure that that event went smoothly. And Lily in the mayor's office, man, she did a great job kind of pulling that together with her team as well. So it was really a great event. It went very smoothly. Food was good. So yeah, just shout out to everybody that was involved with that. It was really a cool weekend.
Dope, man. I wish I could have been in attendance, but I had another engagement that day. But I heard the brothers showed up in
Yeah,
good number.
for sure, for sure.
B, what's up with
Alpha's always shining, man, when they come in the room.
always,
You know.
always black and old gold. Don't forget it, people. But anyway, B, man, what's going on in your world, bro?
Yeah, so it's interesting because the weekend of events was going on in the department. And so, Friday, Saturday, uh, I was there. I had to be there in spirit because as I shared, or as I have not shared yet. So congratulations and shout out to Delta Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated on their newest initiates. They brought in 14 women, and I mean extremely accomplished doctors and master's degrees. All I mean they degreed up.
Double seven, man. 14 is a good number.
Yeah, for sure. And so, but so is and I'll recognize some of the other ones on the line who I know, but most of all, I want to shout out and recognize my amazing wife, who, I mean, this has been something that she's talked about for years, and she's worked at and worked towards for years. So to see her, accomplish and achieve, being initiated into the sorority was I mean, it was just an amazing weekend. So, Friday, as much as I, wanted to support the department and be a part of the staff bonding and stuff with the bowling. My wife, I was supporting my wife by allowing her to be where she needed to be to do what she had to do. And so me and my boys hung out, and then Saturday, same thing. And Saturday gave me some time to take the boys. So I had already, picked out some gifts and things for my wife. And Saturday, I was like, hey, y'all, I want y'all to go with me so I can take y'all to pick out some gifts for mommy, because they didn't get it. Like I was explaining to them, okay, like, how dad's an alpha in a fraternity. Well, mommy's about to be in a sorority. So, and so they understood it from that standpoint, but they like, all they knew up to that point really was like, yo, basically mommy gone, you know what I mean? All like, and every weekend, mommy gone. If she get up Saturday, she going from 8 a.m. till, whenever she get back. So it was that they didn't get it until I really put it in those terms for them, and it was like, okay, cool. So we made the ride up to Buffalo, and they picked out a lot of nice stuff for her.
So Buffalo still got that spot? It's still open?
So yeah, Greek and Sneaks is still open, but shout out to
Pratt got his own
A1 Greeks. Shout out to Pratt, man. We went up to A1 Greeks, man, and he, you know what I'm saying, and he's so dope about it because hit him up, and we rolled up there, and he was just like, yo, I'll be up there, I'll be at the shop this time. If you need something different though, in terms of time wise, let me know. It just was, man, everything, man. He just made sure we were well taken care of. So, man, shout out to him. You know what I mean? To Frat.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so, man. I got to get up there too, because I know he got some good stuff.
Yeah, and right now he probably ain't got nothing AK though, because we cleaned him out. I know so yeah, he definitely, man, looked out and held us down, man. The boys put out, like I said, a lot of nice stuff, and it was real special. So we brought it home. Now here's the cool part. So we ate at Lenova, you know what I mean, and I was like, man, there's enough that I'm gonna bring it back to the house, but it's got Lenovo's boxes on it, so I'm switching it out and putting it in, Tupperware when I get to the house.
Yeah.
And as I'm finishing up putting it, switching it in the Tupperware, she pulls up.
Oh man.
So Bam went and hit.
Wait, what time you got out there, man? Because you got a different clock. So what?
Nah, man, we left like maybe 10, 11 o'clock Saturday morning.
Oh, in the morning.
And we just made a day out of it. We just hung out for the day.
Took them to your old spots.
Yeah, we just rode around, just, touring, and they got a chance. Like I said, for me, if you get a chance to like experience Nova, and Bryson loved the pizza. He loved the pizza. He was like, this might be some of the best pizza ever. So we got a chance to hang out and just have some father son bonding time.
Okay.
And what was really special about it was we were bonding as father and sons, but it was all in the name of being able to be a blessing to the wife. So
Yeah.
it was cool. We got back home. Bam understood his assignment. He saw mom pulling up. He took the
Yeah.
boxes, hit him, and she was like, "Where y'all get wings from?" And I was like, this spot downtown. I can't even remember the name of it. So
That's
she
good
had,
right there because then you wasn't lying technically.
yeah, she had no idea. She had no idea. And so now what was funny was I also got a sub, and she was loving the sub. She was like, so I know she was. I was gonna have to tell her at some point because she would have been asking like, where'd you get that sub from? Because I want one.
Yeah.
So but then Sunday was the luncheon, and she got she just to see the smile that was on her face. And when somebody smiles from the inside out, like even when she wasn't smiling, you could just see that the happiness and the joy she had, about just really achieving this milestone. And it was just great to be in the building, man. She looked amazing, and I was happy to see her, and she was celebrated right. Shout out to big sis Dr. Christine Brown Richard.
That's my special right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
man, shout out to her.
Yeah, and she pinned my wife, man. So
man, wow,
that's special. You know what I mean? That's special.
That is special, man. Wow, that's what's up, man. Well, let's get into we'll shout it out again a little bit later on in the show because we got some things we got to talk about, man. I think, man, we've been grinding all year, man, and we about at wits end right now. And I think, man, some people really need some help on like how do you really give yourself grace for the grind. I think that's just so important, man, for us to talk about as men because we put a lot of stress on ourselves. So today, matter of fact, I was talking to Bama like 15, 20 minutes ago, and he asked this guy because he said he went to the store and like everybody. You say what?
I know Bama.
That's an inside joke, everybody. That you had to be there to know it. But so he was talking to this guy because he was buying, some stuff, some gift cards or whatnot. Hopefully they're not listening, but yeah, he was getting some stuff, and the guy, he looked at the guy, and I guess they like, how guys sometimes we ain't got to say a whole lot, but we know what's going on. So they had like a moment. They both was kind of laughing, and Bama goes to the guy and says, "This is stressful, ain't it?" He was like, "Man, I'm buying stuff for the wife, just going in." And I'm like, "Yeah, see, I ain't got no type of problems this year because see, I did all my stuff ahead of time, so that I ain't gotta be stressed out trying to figure out, what I'm gonna do." And that's just one example, but I know that there's so much that we do as men, as fathers, as husbands, as people that have careers and stuff like that. Like, how do we take this time really to say, okay, I'm doing all of this, but what am I really doing this for? And is this really helping? Because I think we get into this rut of, and I've been there, which is I think partly why I had another hospital visit, but doing a whole bunch but really not doing nothing. If that kind of makes sense. Just being busy for busy's sake. But yet there's not really anything that's coming out of this. That makes sense.
I definitely see what you're saying, and I think there's so many, it's so layered and nuanced, and I don't want to we don't have time to unpack it all, but just from the standpoint of touching on it to some degree of depth. I think we all, my dad was born in 1943. Kareem, I know your dad is,
like 1951.
Exactly. So, you know what I mean? Not much younger. So that, and Kareem, Isaac, I believe his dad, here's the crazy part is Mr. Bliss is like one of the smoothest looking older dudes, man, you will come across. He's smooth, man. He's smooth with it. So, but when you're raised by men who are from a time period where, man, if you were sick, you still went to work. If you were, you know what I mean, man, you could be if you wasn't on a deathbed, if you wasn't no calling in. You just you thugged it out. You know what I mean? And so I think that being raised by that era of man, it shaped our mindsets and mentalities in a way that I think we're still kind of shedding some of those unhealthy, because a lot of that led that, you know, men of that generation to early transitions. You know what I mean? And so even the ones who stuck around, they lost a lot of the quality of their life in their latter years. So I think for us, you know, we've started to unpack it in a way where we're approaching life to be more healthy. So it's like, you know, when we say, you know what, we're gonna take some time off, and like we're gonna take the time off, and so I'm gonna let Isaac touch on it, but I do have some more thoughts, but you know what I mean. I want to let Isaac, you know, get in the thought, but again, we had to stop being so kind of stuck in that mindset of unhealthy habits that we thought represented masculinity.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I was there a lot, right, and I found myself being stressed out about all the things that I felt like I have to do. And I honestly got to say, I don't know that I don't know that I've been there in the last 2 years. You know, I've been trying to live life differently to the point where if I feel myself getting stressed, I just slow down, and you know, no matter what the situation is, like if it's, you know, making sure that my family has what they need and all that stuff, obviously I'm going to continue to grind it out and make it happen. But the reality is we are no good to anyone else if we're not being good to ourselves, right? And if we're not taking that time to take care of ourselves and make sure that we're in a good place to be able to take care of others, it's not good. It's not helpful, you know, all around. So I just been very mindful of that, and you know, I always, you know, just try to make sure. Lately, I guess I'll say that within the last couple of years, I just always try to make sure that I'm in a good headspace, and you know, physical, space as well too, to make sure that the things that my family needs and those things that they want, I'm able to deliver on. And to be honest, it's really been working for me. Like life has been better. Like, you know, things, you know, that, you know, talk about the power of attraction, the law of attraction. Like, yeah, I've been trying to attract peace and calm and quiet at times, and that's what I've been
I like
getting.
that, bro. That's a good one.
Yeah, but you know, it's just, I think in changing the whole thought process that we have to go out and we have to work our behinds off to be able to make ends meet. That's not the right mindset to have. It's like if I'm going to put in extra work, I got to get extra pay, right? If I'm going to put in extra work, we got to have an extra benefit to it, right? And if that's not happening, you know, sometimes you just got to slow down and refocus and calm your mind, and things start to fall into place. So, yeah, I haven't had that mentality for a while. I know that's something that, you know, like, you know, Balal, you were saying, and Kareem, like that's what we've been taught, that's what we saw, that's, you know, what we learned. But the reality of the situation is that's not how we have to live. And if one thing that I'm going to pass on to my kids, I want them to understand that too. I was just kind of having this conversation, not in the same context, but it's like there's certain things that I don't make my kids do anything, right? Like if they tell me that they don't want to do laundry, I'm not going to make you do laundry. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out the consequences of what happens if you don't, right? And it's the same thing for me. Like I don't want to go to work every day, right? But I had to think through like what that happens if I don't go to work. And you know, I think just having those conversations sometimes, you know, with myself, but then having those same conversations with my kids, and just getting them to really understand and think through it and process it, I think is a lot more impactful than saying, if you don't do the laundry, then you're not going to get X, Y, and Z, right? I want you to tell me what you're not going to get. And I think just, you know, kind of having that mindset, you know, has helped me. So hopefully I'm trying, you know, that's one of the things I'm trying to instill in them as well too.
So I got two thoughts before I toss it back to Barlow. One thought is when our dads were working and the Kodaks, the 3Ms, the Bosch and Lums, they can work 50, 60, 70 hours in a week because there was this thing back in the day called overtime. And so, yeah, they can work all them hours because there was a financial benefit behind working all them hours. But now somebody got smart and said, you know what? Let's do salary. And working salary, you can work 80 hours in a week and you're going to get paid the same thing you would get paid if you did doing 40 hours. So
Yep.
that's just the one comment about that right there. So B, as you were saying, like, yeah, times were just different. You know, if somebody had to, you know, it's funny because whenever I knew my dad was going to buy something big, because he put in a lot of overtime. Like he put in that overtime, especially around Christmas time. Man, kept making a killing. And then bonuses. But a lot of the jobs we have now is salary. So yeah, there's really no extra incentive really to work, you know, like we've been working. Last comment is, well, actually more of a question for you brothers as we get into this conversation is, how does it feel? And Bilo, you brought this up because I thought about what you said. How does it feel to be able to spend time with your kids, especially your sons, right? Because like I remember growing up, my dad, he worked a lot, you know, but when he was home, he was home. He did stuff with us and everything like that, but not to the extent of what life is like now. I feel like I take my kids to practice, take it to appointments, take it to the friend's house, you know, doing a lot of things that dads didn't really do back then. So I just want to know, you know, like how do y'all feel about having that type of FaceTime, you know, with your kids and just being able to, you know, kind of do, I don't want to say do more, but just have more of a presence when it comes to, you know, raising our children.
You don't get this time back. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. As great as it is, and you know, to have this time as an adult with your dad, like, and make memories now, and have conversation with him as an adult, and kind of, you know, have this phase of life relationship with him. Um, you get a lot of years to have the adult level and build and grow that adult level relationship with your parents. We get a small window of time for our kids to be kids, and so I'm really intentional about trying to maximize or make the most out of that small window that I can. And so I remember when I was, you know, a brand new parent, like I scaled all the way back, you know, in terms of my involvement in a lot of other things. Like, you know, I wasn't as present or visible when it came to the frat, because it was like, man, if it takes time away from me being with my boys, I needed to be able to justify it in my heart that this was a deposit into their, you know, to their life or their future in some capacity that I could be at peace with. And so again, I was really intentional, but now that they're old enough for me to be really able to expose them to those other spaces in my life that, you know, I had to scale back from. You know, I can do both. It's not I don't have to choose one or the other. I'm able to expose my kids to all of the other aspects of my life. And again, it's invaluable to be able to have that time with them, because again, you know, my oldest is 14 now, and I'm like, where did the time go? Where did I have a 14-year-old high school student, and it's like, what in the world? Like, where's the time? And so for me, you know, it's invaluable, and I you know, I have great memories of time with my dad as a child, and you know, I just wanted to be able to kind of give my kids the same. But you're absolutely right. Like, it's definitely, I didn't get the same volume of time with my dad as I've tried to, you know, give to my kids because of the time, because, you know, you can work all overtime, and it's great to be able to have that, you know, do the stuff like the Christmas stuff when it's time to do Christmas, but you know, we don't get the time back.
Yeah, and time is so important. That's why I really like what Isaac does, like with his kids, man, with his 8 kids. I mean, four kids that he got. And
12 today, man.
well, you got one son and you got 3 daughters, right? But I'm always really impressed, Isaac, with how, like, even how you talk to your daughters. Like, there's just like this calmness that you have. But and we all, if you don't, if you know Isaac, you know Isaac is very logical in almost all of his approaches. He really tries to take that other fluffy stuff out and try to like talk to you logically. But I like, with your daughters, man, you just have like a softness like to you where you still give them logic, but you understand that they're at different ages, different stages in their lives. But I think, man, and I mean, you're home, right? And so, like, what's your experience been with them, and obviously with your son, and everything he's been doing. But I would say for your daughter specifically, though, like, how do you like make sure that you make that time, for them and just not out here grinding? Because you got things you got to do, but then there's also the family unit, and for all of us, I know that comes first.
By the way, that's evolved Ike. Evolved Ike. Because if y'all know Isaac before evolution.
Oh well, yeah. I mean,
Isaac was like,
I mean, the sarcasm still exists, you know what I mean? But I mean, I think that's a good point that becoming a parent kind of softens you though a little bit as well too. So yeah, I can be very sarcastic with Ava. Like,
yes, we know.
Like, yeah, that's my alter ego right there. So she gets it, she understands it, and I could say something that could sound hurtful, right, or sound like I'm being extra critical, but she understands it, right. So I think that's the key, is just like really understanding those personalities. That's the other thing. I think one of my gifts is that I can kind of, after meeting somebody, I try to get an understanding of who they are, and not just what they're presenting, or what I think of them, right. I try to allow people to kind of show me who you are, and those are the things that I try to pick up on, and I respond to that way. So I would say that it's not just my daughters I will talk to a certain way. It's really the personality. Like, they all have different personalities, each one of my kids. And I understand that Zoe, she's like in her little pretty princess phase, right? And everything is, daddy, I love you, and thank you so much. And she's a sweetheart. But I know Zoe also has a don't get me upset side as well too, because you're gonna get these hands, right? So I think when communicating, that's just one of the things that I always try to do is make sure I'm identifying the need of that person in that moment, and just trying to figure out how to respond. So it's a balance, right? It's definitely labor of love. But what I can say is that I appreciate the fact that I can be different and respond different and talk and communicate with each of my kids differently, because I'm also have a type of personality where I get tired, or I don't know if it's bored or what, by doing the same things over and over again. So just the way that I'm able to engage and to interact with each of them, differently, to find those, to meet them where they are and do those things that they like and love, makes this process much more enjoyable for me as well too, right? I don't know, man. It's just a great experience to be a parent, and to have 8 kids with 12 different personalities is cool as well too, because like I said, it kind of keeps you on your toes and allows you to experience a lot more throughout this process.
So real quick, because you said a lot of good things there, man. Like what you just talked about is discernment, like being able to discern people, understanding their personalities. I mean, you didn't do a DS4, right? You didn't do some sort of assessment. I mean, you just watch people, and
Yeah.
then also there's some intuition, there as well. But uh, what I want to highlight is something that Calvin said. And Calvin, I think you had a birthday too recently, so shout out to you for your birthday. And his kids are
You
thriving.
related.
Yeah, wife thriving, so they're definitely thriving where he's at.
Hey,
But
Calvin, how about them Cowboys?
here you go with that. Here you go. This is supposed to be this what we want people to be on this show. So anybody that's a Cowboy fan gonna be like, nah, we're not coming out there,
Hey,
man.
nah,
'Cause we hate the Cowboys.
Nah, tell them turn on the real. You know, if you watching Monday Night Football, he watching a real team right now in the NFC.
Oh, here you go. But he said becoming a parent changed his life, man. And I think that's true for all of us, man. And
If you know Calvin,
yeah,
you know you don't just know that to be true. You know the depth.
Yes.
Of that.
Yes, absolutely, man. And one of the things I want to say, man, to everybody that's listening is that when you're thinking about giving yourself grace for the grind, because there's different, like Bilal said, there's different facets to it, right? There's career, there's family, there's things you do outside, there's hobbies and things like that or whatnot. But we got to give ourselves space to mess up. Like we don't know everything there is to know about parenting. We know what we saw. We know what we experienced. We might even know what people have told us, secondhand, third hand. But like, how do we give ourselves the space to be able to just not always have all the answers? Because I'll tell you this, that I love my parents. They were phenomenal when I was growing up. But even as I became a parent, I understand that I don't do everything that my parents did when I was coming up. One, I got different type of kids. Two, is a different time period, and they have some, different personalities. So we have to adjust to that. But how do we do that? How do we give ourselves space? Because I think a lot of times we beat ourselves up. Like if we can't make it to the game, or if we can't, make it to school and do career day or whatever the thing is, like how do we give ourselves space just to be able to, just take it in stride and just do the best that we can? That's what our parents did. They did the best they can do with what they had.
I think that's all anybody can do, right? And um, you say, have you gone to a parent teacher event at their school? Have you gone to one of their showcases? Have you gone to a football game that they've been in? And if the answer is yes, that you have been to one, I think you're doing what you can do, right? And are you going to be able to make it to every single one? I'm gonna try, but there's always going to be things that come up, and I think like the title of the show is like, you got to find, that's where the grace comes into play, right? You got to give yourself grace, and hopefully from the energy and effort that you've been putting in to get to everything else and be a part of everything else, and support. And if you couldn't be there, making sure that you're following up and having those conversations about it, and showing that you care, and showing that if it's important to them, it's important to you as well too. Like that's where that grace comes into play, and that understanding comes into play as well too. Like we're not out here just talking about, yeah, you got to be there for your kids, you got to be there for your family, you got to do X, Y, and Z, and not living it. Like if you're living it and doing as much as you can to make sure that your children, your family have everything that they need, and putting in that time, energy, and effort into making sure that comes true and that happens, there's going to be those times that we fall short, and not necessarily because we just don't have the intent to be there, or the intent to show up, right? But it's just that something came up, and I think that makes that understanding a lot more easier.
I think everything I just said is spot on. I want to approach it from a different lens. Um, I think one of the things that we have to do is we have to kind of shed some of the internalized things that we, you know what I mean, that have followed us for generations, you know what I mean, whether epigenetically, then learned, and you know what I mean, we got to unlearn some of those things. And what I mean by that is so I think we experience life in such a way, coming from, you know, certain background community, in which the room or margin for error for us is a lot smaller. You know what I mean? So when you have a much smaller margin for error, it makes you feel like I gotta be that much more on all the time. So I don't have, you know, you don't give yourself the grace to be wrong or learn or not be on and not have the answer all the time, because you've never really had it. So when you've never really had it, you find yourself in a place where you're like, man, I've internalized, even if I don't have the answer, I gotta make the answer in real time.
So what did we say during our process, right? You taught me this.
You're never right.
Never right, bro.
You're never right.
Mm-hmm.
But again, when you come from, you know, the neighborhoods we come from,
yeah, sometimes
being wrong isn't even an option. Like we don't have the option to be wrong. And how and you know, you get to a certain age and you've already stacked so many L's, because again, you came into life with some L's. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you in a certain neighborhood, certain economics, and you know what I mean, certain environments and things. There's so many L's that you're already surrounded by. You like, man, I don't have room for another L. So you don't give yourself the grace to take an L, because you know every L costs you more than it might cost your counterparts. So we have to unlearn that and start giving ourselves grace and not be hypercritical and beat ourselves up when we make mistakes. You know what I mean? Yeah. When we have errors, when we have misses, you know what I mean? And once we start to do that, and then this is why I tell people, you know what I mean, it's so important to have a relationship with God, because, man, here's the most amazing part about it, right? Mm-hmm. And I've seen, right, parents, right, man, the parents of a child, man, I've seen people, again, they would say my child did wrong in that, right? Going to court with their child, you know, for the most whatever crime, right? And guess what they say? Yeah, I understand my child did that. That's still my child, and I'm still gonna love them. Yeah. I know they got to be held accountable, but that's still my child, and I love them. And there's nothing that they can do that, and there's nothing that you can say about my child that's going to change or make me stop loving them. Yeah. Guess what? God loves you every bit of that way, unconditionally. No, nothing you can do is going to stop God from loving you. And
that's what it says, right? Like,
and when you internalize that kind of love, you start to have that kind of love and grace for yourself as well. And you'll hold yourself to the standard of doing right, you know what I mean, as best you can, but you also don't put the pressure on yourself to have to be right all the time. You know what I mean? And I think if we start giving ourselves that kind of grace, give ourselves that space for grace and love on ourselves, you know what I mean? Then we can see, again, we can unpack the pressures of feeling like we got to be in the grind all the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. One of the simple ways that I've done it, man, I'm telling you, you know, you talked about salary, right? So the one of the benefits, because there are some downsides, but
there's benefits of being salary,
that you get these vacation banks, you got time banks, you got PTO or whatever. So but again, part of our trauma is like, man, you know, I growing up seeing parents who never took time off, or you know, we're so used to coming from deficits that we like, man, I can't take 2 days off because then that's going to lower my bank to this. And then what if I need that time one day? Man, you can what if yourself to
Listen, man. I one day just said F it. Yo, let me get a whole week off, and I'm about to use all my time. Like I don't even care, man, because I got things to do, and I ain't about to let it sit.
Exactly, because and again, and when you don't take that time, you're not hurt. You're not helped. You thinking you're that much more productive because you didn't take that time off, man.
You're actually less productive.
Yeah, I took a couple of days off. So Thanksgiving last month, we get the Thursday and Friday. I took the Tuesday and the Wednesday off before it. Man, I was so refreshed coming back to work. You know what I mean? It was a breath of fresh air.
It's a wonderful thing, man.
Yeah. So give yourself that time. Like, take that time, use that time to pour back into yourself. Man, I know my dad was not a vacation taker. My father-in-law wasn't a vacation taker. My father-in-law, when he retired, they had to cut him a check like $10,000 for the amount he had worked for 30. He worked like 30 something years. You know what I mean? Like they had to cut him a fat check because of all the time he had accrued, and he only ever took like a week vacation every year.
But I think that's the old thinking that people still have to this day, though.
Hide the money in the mattress.
Yep, exactly.
Don't put it in the bank. Don't put it in the stocks. Don't invest it because you might lose it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, and that has. But I want to say something that Calvin said here, and he made an excellent point. And I think we can take this point and start to wrap up, and we can go back around to Toya now becoming an AKA, because I'm sure there's a connection now with that. Like y'all are already connected, obviously, being married, for 16 years.
Listen, sweet 16 is
that's what I thought.
2 days.
That's 2 days. Yes, it is.
2 days.
Yes, it is. 16. Yes, it is. So, somebody said to me Saturday night in front of my wife and I was like, yo, that's why it's important to marry right. And she was talking about us, like, just because of all the stuff I've been through and all of that or whatever, I'm gonna come out with a whole different podcast to talk about all that stuff. But he was like, yo, you gotta marry right. Like, you gotta marry the right partner. You gotta marry somebody that compliments you. Like Isaac, listen, we know that Ezra compliments Isaac because it take a strong woman to deal with that Negro. His sarcasm. I'm done.
Listen,
for anything, my sarcasm bad. She ain't met Isaac.
Yo, your sarcasm is bad though. Don't even try to downplay it by putting it up in mine. You know what I mean? Don't mean it ain't bad.
I'm gonna tell you what, right? This is how I know. This is just one of the many ways that I know. My wife really loved me. I'm worth more to her dad, and I'm still here. You know what I mean? That's the reality.
That's real. Yeah.
And I think that's another thing. Again, like we doing things so much differently in this generation. Like life insurance is real for us. Like
yes, it is.
We like, yo, let's get the life insurance. Let's make sure it's in place. And not to say, I not to say it's people that's out there, hoping and wishing and ready or doing anything, but you know what I mean? The reality is
they might not give you your medicine, they might hide it, but
given and you feel me? So given the situation that God just brought you out of, right? Like it could have been, if somebody had you not married right, somebody could have played the role real well, but in the back of their mind, like, man,
about to get this check, baby.
Yep, and I'm still young, got a lot of good years left in me. We about to be paid, and
that's real.
Still gonna find somebody who gonna, and ride out the rest of these years with.
Yeah, and they gonna have a life insurance policy too.
Right, you know what I mean? So it's like if you don't marry right, man, and because you needed the energy of the people who were around. I was telling bros like, listen, man, and people, if you don't have the right energy or spirit, don't even bring up Kareem. Like, just, you know what I mean. Let's direct our energy this way.
Hey man, that
If
was
it's
good
not
protection
prayers,
right
it's
there.
not, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If it's not prayers and it's positive energy, like if it's doubt and what if and all that, like keep that. We don't need none of that. You know what I mean.
Yep.
And so again, and there's no greater influence of that energy than your life partner. So here, if you got a life partner up in the room who low key is you know wanting the worst for you, like, you know what I mean, in that situation, man, all of that matters. So yeah, that's a great point, Calvin, that, you know what I mean, having a spouse who is, man, really really supportive and loving and really, I just, that's key, that's crucial.
And you never know, man. Your spouse might save your life. You know what I mean? That's the reality of it, man. But yo, so tell us, man, because my wife in the sorority, Delta Sigma Theta sorority incorporated, and your wife is now in a sorority. Now, Isaac, Ezra, you know what I'm saying? She could join the train. She got some options. You know what I mean? If she's thinking about it.
Yeah, I would say ask Ezra.
Well played. Well played.
Yeah,
Well played.
like I don't tell my kids what to do. I just said that, man.
You did.
I'm definitely not about to tell my wife what to do. You know,
that's how you do.
Because building off of the conversation, or the comment that Calvin made as well too. Like, she's the reason why I can have peace at times as well, as well, right? Because she's the one that takes the time. She'll step in, and if I need some time to just kind of say I'm getting stressed out and take a seat back and a step back, then she's there to make sure that everything else is being held down, right? So,
and she get that good overtime too.
Yeah, I love it. She ain't going in the day, man, because it's holiday season. But taking a little bit extra time off. But again, she needs that as well too. So I'm gonna be there to support her through that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a balancing act, and I'm not gonna tell her what I think she should do. Like, if that's something that she has a desire to do, and go after and pursue. Then she should definitely do it, because I think we all know, like, if it's not in your heart,
it ain't even worth doing. Yeah,
you ain't gonna make it through. So,
yep.
But but definitely shout out to the sisses that are in the that have made that step in that path. I don't think it's out of the question. For Ezra, but again, that's something that she's gonna have to say that, it's time and time for me to move forward.
Last thing before you go, but I just want to say something. We are all 20 plus years in a fraternal organization. If you didn't really hear what Isaac just said, that right there is gold. That's gold right there, because what he was saying was that, like, everybody has reasons for why they're doing things. But if your reasons isn't to the point where you're like, yes, I know I want to do this. I know I want to make this commitment. I know I want to, be part of something that's bigger than myself. Then you shouldn't be doing it, or you shouldn't do it. Now, you can do research and all the other stuff, but there's so much work that goes into this that you can't, it's not a lighthearted decision. So I'm sure, you and Satoya talk, y'all had that pillow talk, and she was probably like, babe, I really want to do it. And I'm sure B was like, yeah, like, you can, but I'm sure B, you gave her, like, listen, X, Y, C, this, that, and the third, like, this, if you gonna do it, then you gotta go on 100%.
Well, but to know Satoya is to know, though, like, if she
gonna keep it 100 all day, every day.
Yeah, and she's an asset. She's gonna bring and add value to whatever space she's in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so because of how she commits to what, like she's not going to allow it to herself to be a part of something and not hold up her end of the bargain. That's just what it is. Like if I'm on, you let me know what I'm responsible for, what I got to do. That's gonna be done. I guarantee you.
Unless it's getting there on time.
Well, no, that's no. She's a stickler for time. She just
hold, time out. So she a stickler for time, and you not, man. How y'all do it?
Listen, I'm not a late person. I'm not a late person. I get to places based on my lifetime. You know what I mean?
Thank you, B. I'm glad you said it. Based on my low time, I can live with that. I can live with that.
Like like ask her what time I was at. I made it to the luncheon yesterday.
Oh, you was there. You was probably there before everything started.
Exactly. Like, you know what I mean?
That just means that's it. Like my brother, he shows up for important things in his life that he really cares about ahead of time. Like when we hold something, you just know he don't care about it. You know, that's
nah.
We understand now, Kareem. We understand.
Yeah, we got it.
It's funny. It's funny you said that. So true story. This is a true story. So we had a staff retreat at work, and I can't remember who said it, but they we were talking about different things. Like I think it was like come up with a quote or a saying for yourself.
Here you go.
No, true story. This not even. I'm not even throwing you under the bus this time.
Okay.
They said if I'm there, I care. You know what I mean? Like because in the course of like things, man, in life, there's so many things that might be going on. Like there have been times, right? This actually happened. Two people that I knew really well were both getting married on the same day. I went to one wedding, kind of peeked my head in and dipped out at the reception, and then dipped into the other reception, and it was like, and I got it from both sides. It was like, oh man, I was like, man, do you you don't realize, like, you know what I mean? What it took for me to make it to your celebration and still be a part of your celebration. Like neither one of them knew, and I'm like, I just like, yo, it wasn't. So we sometimes charge things to people not realizing what it took for them to actually get there and be there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm there, know that I care. I moved some stuff around to be there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even when we were talking about Friday going bowling, like I was like, man, if my mom would have answered the phone and watched Bam and Bryson for me, I was going to pull up. You know what I mean? I jokingly said, because in the email there was like no kids, but I had jokingly told Kermani, I was like, yeah, I got my boys and bring them up. She's like, Balal, no kids. I said, I saw the email. I just wanted the message. You know what I mean? But if I'm there, I care, and I care, and I definitely care about the people I work with, because we got an awesome team. We got an awesome group of people, and so it's cool when you can actually have good people that you actually don't mind going somewhere with.
And when you, I was just gonna say, when you're there,
after work hours. Yeah,
when you're there, you want to be there, right? Like you engage. When being there, like you ever had somebody go somewhere and they just look like they don't want to be there, man, you should have kept your butt at home then if you ain't trying to, be out.
Marshawn Lynch used to say, I'm here so I don't get fined.
That's true. That's true in certain cases, yeah. But
if I had any other choice, you know what I mean? And that to me, that that's definitely not so. I if I care about the people, you know what I'm saying, the people I care about, I do make an effort, and again, sometimes it puts me in a position to not be there when I would ideally want to be there, but definitely
you do show up though. But you do show up. That's the. I mean, I know we joke and all that stuff, but like when it's important, you show up. Like you just, and I mean, you will. The one thing I forgot what this word is, but what is it when you do something? Oh, commitment. Like commitment is I'm gonna do what I say I'm gonna do, even if it means I gotta experience some pain, whatever that pain is, right? And
That's
you definitely,
discipline too.
yeah, discipline, absolutely. And
You
you
know,
know,
you
you,
like I tell my son all the time,
mm.
like discipline is doing what you said you was gonna do, even when the mood you was in when you
Oh
said it
man,
ain't the mood you in now. You know what I
yeah, I'm
mean?
gonna be
When
teaching
you
that
get
for
in,
18
you in a
years.
totally different mood. You know,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah. Speaking of
that's
showing up, I just want to shout out, man, to Yo Dean.
yes,
Yeah.
sir. And yo, when you talk about somebody that showed up and showed out this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
yo, Dean, man, like he showed out this weekend. So I love my Dean. Shout out to Big Brother Bama from the state of Alabama. You know what I mean? Lover of the pink and green, connoisseur of chicken wings and collard greens. Listen, yeah, that's a real one right there.
No doubt.
He listen, he stopped, dropped, and rolled. Was like, yo, what? He was like, and it was funny because he was like, man, listen, we got to do something. I got to make sure I got to do something. And yo, he was just all over it in terms of making sure, you know, Toya felt celebrated. You know what I mean? And
Well, we got to get over there, man, and celebrate. I'm sure it'd be you gonna have something, you know, in the wings or whatnot,
yeah,
man. So
yeah,
whenever that time comes.
yeah, we were like we gonna plan something because you know the reality is the luncheon they only had capacity for 90 people because
Yeah.
again when you got 14 initiates, you know, and then you're thinking about all of their families
Times
and
it by
whatnot.
4. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, you know what I mean? So there was only so much capacity, so we was like, you know, and then they had already had plans for something to do kind of afterwards to celebrate amongst themselves.
Of course.
So it was like, yo, we're gonna plan something, and so
You know how we celebrated back in the day?
you know how we do. You know how we do. So
But
it's
you know what we did the day after? Yo,
Listen.
that was the best. I mean, there's some times in my life where I've had the best sleep. That's one of them. That's a good sleep right there,
I
bro.
slept real good I'm telling you, I slept amazingly last night, man. I slept amazing. I was exhausted, so I can't even imagine. You know what I mean? Hurt. You know what I mean? I was exhausted.
Listen, man. When you finish and you get done and you cross over, man, you like, man, sleep is calling my name.
Yeah.
Listen, man. And the only other time I slept well was under anesthesia. That's the only other time I slept.
They say count backwards from 10.
Oh, you don't even make it to 8.
Yeah.
It's the truth, man. They be trying to play you in there too. They be getting you talking, making you laugh at the corny jokes, and then they be like, "All right, start counting." You don't even, and then you wake up. You're like, "Hey, wait, where about it? Oh, you're done." Oh,
Right.
But hey, man, let's get ready to wrap up. It's almost our time. I just want to do this real quick because it's on my mind. I want to shout out to Norm Jones. Definitely shout out to him. James put him on the phone. He was at the Mentor Up program, Mayor Malik Evans program, man. And so I got a chance to talk to him. I spoke to him today, and it was really great hearing that, brother. I told him about the story that he gave us, me and James, one day, and he said, you know, we at that point, you know, this is probably like 10 years ago. Yeah, about 10 years ago now. And he was basically saying, like, hey, you know, you're gonna come into some money and stuff like that. He was like, man, don't go out there and buy no car. Get yourself an asset, you know, do something, you know, productive with that money. And I told him I remember that conversation, and I ended up buying a house. Like that was, and then not only did I buy a house, but I bought a house at that time, which was a good time. And then now, you know, my house is worth more than what I paid for it. So definitely want to shout him out, man. He is a man of wisdom. He's got experience, and he just wants to help, especially black and brown men. So definitely want to shout him out. And B, I'm gonna shout this one out, man. This got something to do with you. But did your mom tell you I saw her this weekend?
She did.
Man,
Listen,
let me tell you.
And she cried. She cried cried too. She cried because when you embraced Damiano,
Yeah.
and she knew what you had gone through,
Yeah.
and so she knew that hug wasn't just like you seeing him and hadn't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, we both made it.
Yes.
And we could have both not made it. You know what I mean?
Yes, that was exactly it.
Both make it. Yeah, it meant.
Yeah.
She told me about it, man. She cried, telling me like that's how much it moved her. She was like, I cried then, and I'm crying just thinking about it. So it definitely meant a lot to her.
Yeah, man.
So I want to see you, and she talked about James.
Yeah,
but she talked about that hug that you and Damiano shared.
Yeah, man, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment, man, and just seeing your mom, seeing your sister, and Damiano, man. Oh my gosh, man, that made my whole entire weekend. Like I was thinking about that like all week for the rest of the weekend, man, and just we don't look like what we've been through. You know what I mean? And that in itself is a blessing, and that in itself is just a testament, man, to why we believe in God and believe it, and God is for us the higher power, man, is because we have the evidence to show that He has truly blessed us, man. So that's my shout out. Oh, one more shout out, last one. Yo, shout out to my wife, man. She made some banana pudding and some pound cake. Oh my gosh, babe, you the best. That's all I want to say. You the best. You the best.
Another
DJ Khaled.
You the best.
All right, I'm done, y'all.
Yo, shout out to my wife as well too. I definitely got to shout her out. She stayed up last night making some cookies for an event that we had with our team today at work. Celebrate youth services and all the great things that the team is doing during the holiday season. So I appreciate her for pulling that together for us. Also just, making sure that she's there, taking care of my babies every single day, man. Ezra, appreciate you. Kudos to you. Shout out to my dean as well. Over in the motherland, we miss you on the show, man. So look forward to you coming back once you get your internet straight, bro, because we can't have another episode like we did last week. It was a little crackly. So but shout out my dean, man. Much love to you as well too. And hey, there was somebody else I wanted to give some kudos to, but I can't think of it right now. But to everybody, and I know Balel, you're gonna kind of wrap us out. So I just want to say this to everybody during this time, the holiday season. Want to wish y'all all a Merry Christmas if you celebrate it, and if you don't, whatever holiday that you're gonna be lifting up during this time of year, definitely want to say Happy Holidays to you all. As well, this is definitely a time where we want to make sure that, you are hugging on somebody that you love. Tell them that you love them. Show them that you love them. It doesn't have to be with a gift or an expensive gift, but it can just be like, being present. And, I think I was having a conversation today with some of my colleagues, and we were talking about how much emphasis some people put on things, right? And whether it's something that reminds you of something that happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and the reason that you're holding on to it, just think about what space that's taking up. And what space that's taking up and potentially keeping you from a relationship. And God forbid your house burns down, or that item gets destroyed, or you lose it, or it's stolen, or whatever it is, right? And that thing is no longer there. The people that are going to help you through and get you through are what's really important, right? Who are you going to fall back on to help you rebuild, to give you a space in a house as well too? So I'm just going to say, always choose people over products. Always choose people over things. Like, always choose the people in your life that you love, and just kind of remember that during this holiday season. So shout out to everybody that's choosing people. I'll leave it at that.
Yes, sir. I got a few, and I wrote them down because I didn't want to forget anybody. Oh man, hold up! Shout out to
nephew.
Shout out to my nephew Isaiah, man.
What's up, nephew?
Love you, nephew, man. Much
Merry
love
Christmas
to you. But I want to start by shouting out Mayor Malik Evans, and the reason is because uh, he has one of the most unenviable jobs you can imagine. To be at the level of public service that he's in a city as diverse and complex and as nuanced as Rochester. Uh, it is man, it is a job with a that carries a heavy weight with it, and you know hours during the early evening hours on Saturday, he's at the Mentor Up Gala celebrating and being there for youth, and then a few hours later he's called upon to respond to the incident that by now you probably heard about that happened on Chila Avenue, and to deal with the level of critique, and not even just what people say about how what he said or didn't say, but to deal with the critique when you're the leader of a city and people critique the city, even if they're not critiquing you, you internalize that. You know what I mean? So he does it with, like, if you if you talk to him or if you catch him in passing, man, he always showing some love. He always got, you know what I mean? He keeps his head up, man. So keep on keeping on. And shout out to you, for again for doing the work. It is not it's not an easy task. It's not an easy job to do. So shout out to you, for doing that. Again, I just think it's commendable. Shout out to everybody that was a part of the Mentor Up Gala, that was had a hand in it and played a role. I say this all the time. Every one of us should have a mentor and an apprentice, meaning we mentoring somebody and we're being mentored by somebody. So mentors are such a crucial aspect in life. I would not be where I am in life without the mentors that I've had, people who cared enough to positive their positive pouring to me. So again, shout out to the Mentor Up Gala and everybody that was involved and connected and making it a great and amazing event. Um, Shout out to Alpha Alpha for having the toy drive and doing everything that you all were doing this weekend. Just again giving back to the community. Shout out to every other D9. You know what I mean? I know the Omegas had something. They had a toy drive as well, and they, you know what I mean. Again, it's about service first, and so shout out to, you know what I mean, to everybody who had something, you know what I mean, in terms of the D9 that was given back to the community this weekend. But I know specifically that Alphas, we had something going on, and the Omegas had something going on as well. You know what I mean? Diesel, I got you, bro. Now that I couldn't let the cat out of the bag then, but you know why I couldn't come and pull up on Friday night now. But shout outs to y'all. Shout out to Khadijah Yawn and Rock Royal. They blessed 800 families this
Wow.
past weekend.
That's the one I forgot. Yep.
Wow.
So they blessed 800 families this weekend. So shout out to Khadijah Yawn and her team for making this. You know what I mean? Again, making some families, making their holiday, a time to be able to celebrate and enjoy with their families. Shout out to Victory Living Christian Faith Center and the most amazing leaders, Apostle Gregory R. Wells, Pastor Prophetess Dr. Andrea G. Wells, and the toy drive, and as well. In addition to toys, this past Sunday they were giving out hats, scarves, coats, gloves, and blankets, and they're going to be doing it all this week as well, leading into the holiday to make sure, folks aren't cold, out here in the cold without somebody saying, here, we see and we care and we're responding. So again, tremendous shout out, to them and all the work that we continue to do on the and if you know the part of the city we in, it used to be called Ghost Town. You know what I mean? So shout out to them as well. Shout out to Greg Hopkins and everybody is connected with CTC and the amazing work that they're doing with youth, man. It was like almost 90 kids and at the sports complex the other night, man. Just again, all wanting to get better. The mentorship, the deposits, the work that they're doing with these young men is life changing and life impacting. So
Is
shout out to
is
you all.
isn't it wonderful what evidence does?
Absolutely, absolutely. So and then last but absolutely not least, to my wife again, and congratulations. Um, if you know my wife, she does not get emotional often, but to see her get emotional this weekend let really tells you how much it meant to her. Um, not just to complete this journey. I mean, again, she's been. This is something that for some years now she's been working towards, and and so not only to see her accomplish or achieve that, but for her, you sometimes don't know how people feel about you, and then you see how people feel about you. Like we we needed a wagon to get all of the gifts that she was showered with out of that luncheon on yesterday, and people, I mean, people have been coming by and dropping off gifts today. So thank you for making my wife feel loved and to know that, you know what I mean, everyone sees and recognizes how much she's poured into getting where she is today. So thank y'all for all the love online y'all showed her. Thank you for all the, love y'all have come and shown and shouted her with, throughout this time. And shout out to her and just congratulations again. And welcome. And I'm excited to be on this journey with you and support you as you do the work. So
He was already in the fam, but welcome to the fam, sis.
Well, that's it. I think we're in a good spot. Yo, Ike, man, you gonna give everybody not telling them what to do, but you giving them an opportunity to support.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they already know what it is. So go out and support somebody black, man, because black people doing great things. Shout out. Go give an AKA a hug, man, today this week, man. Give an AKA a hug. Kudos to them for ushering in the new crew. Toya, we see you. We love you. But yeah, go out and support somebody. And I just want to double down and shout out Rock Royal Entertainment, man. So if you get a chance, I'm going to highlight them today. Just make sure that you go and support something that Khadijah and her team is doing. And I say team because she was really able to kind of take Rock Royal from an idea and a vision, some years ago, and really make it blossom and bloom to one of the best youth servicing organizations here in the city of Rochester. And I don't say that lightly. She's got a ton of support from, local funders, for the work that she's doing because they see the value in it. And like, bRho just said, 800 people, right? 800 young people were able to, receive not just, toys this weekend and a gift, but they got a full experience of breakfast with Santa, food, and other things that they needed. So go out and if you get a chance, support them, as well too. So Rock Royal, that's the black business that I'm going to highlight. Make sure that you find a way to kind of give back to them.
All right, man. Salute to everybody. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. And and happy birthday to me next week.
30th.
Oh,
yes,
and
sir.
2 days from now, 16th anniversary. Shout out to that. So everybody, have a good night. Try not to drink too much eggnog. We'll see y'all in the new year.